Hello everyone, Jim Biringer here, NHLRumors.com, back for another video. NHL trade season is here. The draft's coming up on Friday and Saturday. Free agency next Wednesday. Hot and heavy, a lot of trade action. 11 trades since last Tuesday. Carolina Hurricanes doing their own thing with the Stanley Cup. But we had some big trades. Starting on Sunday, the Florida Panthers acquired Brady Tkachuk. They acquired Matthews' brother. They sent the 9th overall, the 25th overall, first round top 10 protected pick in 2029 and a second round pick for 23rd, all the way to the Ottawa Senators. The Senators, they didn't want to move out Brady. Steve Staios said he requested a trade. We kind of reported that he asked for a trade, was willing and open to a change of scenery. Things got to a head when, with all the geopolitical stuff, the American stuff, he could tell he was getting annoyed by it. And kind of looked like he checked out. It was a different Brady Tkachuk this year. He understood what winning meant. He didn't want to talk about all the other stuff. He wanted to talk about winning. And I get it. It's in Canada, right? It's the Canadian capital, but he wants to talk about it. He won and all the other stuff with the White House and going to the dinner and the lunch and the State of the Union. That's what drove him out of town. He wanted to go play with his brother, wanted to go down to Florida and win. It's interesting that Minnesota and Carolina and Vegas were on his list, especially Carolina. But he saw them in the first round of the playoffs. He understood what it takes to win. The Ottawa Senators, though, they had some ammunition. They weren't going to be done. Reported this on TSN in Montreal. Reported this on the Green Zone in Saskatchewan. They were not going to be taking a player with that 9th overall pick. They traded it, whether it was for a defenseman, whether it was for a forward. They get the forward in William Eklund. They get Kasperi Holttunen and Brandon Savoda his rights. And look, they get a good player that could fit in their top 6. They're not done. They're looking to get a defenseman. Could they convince Colton Parayko to waive his no trade clause? Probably not. He wants to go out west if he leaves St. Louis. Could they go re-engage about Rasmus Ristolainen? Do they go get Mario Ferraro? Do they go get, a John Klingberg type? They want to upgrade on the back end. They have the 25th overall pick still in this year's draft. They could probably trade that for a defenseman. The defense market is crazy. We saw Simone Nemec go to the Calgary Flames for 2 conditional first-round picks, a second as well as a prospect. So the New Jersey Devils did well there. We saw Bowen Byram from the Buffalo Sabres along with Jordan Greenway go to the Chicago Blackhawks for the 4th overall pick, and Louis Crevier. And look, that was a great trade. Again, my apologies if I butchered the name, but you're seeing the high price of defensemen. The Ottawa Senators have picks in play. They can move maybe Jordan Spence as well. They want to upgrade that top 4. You have Thomas Chabot. You have Artem Zub. You have Jake Sanderson there. And those are players you want to watch. And those are players that they need to take the next step, but they need a 4th. They need a right shot defenseman. Could Zach Whitecloud be an option? Does Calgary really want to trade him? They like the way he played with Zane Parekh. Is that something Calgary wants to do? Calgary's going to look to keep Simone Nemec. He's open to signing a long-term extension for what they gave up. Craig Conroy's happy with that. He's happy to be there. He's playing some top minutes. He's going to be on the top pair with Kevin Ball. It just wasn't going to work out in New Jersey. It was a logjam of defensemen. Articles up on the devilsnation.com talking about how, Tom Fitzgerald said there were 7 NHL-ready defensemen. There was a logjam on the right side. Dougie Hamilton's 10-team trade clause came into effect. Again, Hamilton has a signing bonus, $7.4 million that is paid out July 1st. Sonny Meta, analytics guy. Dougie's analytics are really good for this team. It's about win now. So you have to move on from a player like that. Talked to a couple scouts today. They said they still wouldn't move off a player like that. You move the money, you keep the young talent. But again, he was open and willing to a change of scenery. That's what we heard all along. That's what we reported. So he moves on from New Jersey. And like Ottawa, the Devils have ammunition to go get a top 6 winger. Could they go get Jason Robertson? Are they in on a goaltender like Connor Hellebuck? Going to have to move Jacob Markstrom's money to do it. But they have to move money to do this. Right, we know Nico Hischier is probably going to sign an extension July 1st, whether it's in 5-6 year range, around $12 million, but that looks like that's going to get finalized beforehand. all things point to there. But again, the Atlantic Division heating up. Buffalo, who just made the playoffs, move out 2 defensemen in Kesselring and Bowen Byram. And Bowen Byram going to Chicago. Look, he was developing on the right side. He's a left shot defenseman playing the right side, his offside. That's never a good thing. He had a great season in Buffalo, but he wants to play on the top pair. He wants to be on the left side. That's where he was in Colorado when he won a Stanley Cup. He wants to anchor the blue line. He wants more minutes. He's got 1 year left at $6.25 million. Sounds like he's excited to play with Connor Bedard. Bedard's excited to play with him. Could they work out a long-term extension there? And again, we talked about the Eklund trade. We talked about the Nemec trade. Jordan Kyrou was a hot commodity for a lot of teams. He goes to Washington, the 16th overall, and Connor McMichael go to St. Louis along with a prospect. And here we are. St. Louis got 4 first-round draft picks. Never bodes well for a team that has 3 or more draft picks. It hasn't worked out historically. Usually those players are traded. They're busts. They don't do anything in the National Hockey League. But the Blues have ammunition to move up into the draft. We're hearing San Jose Sharks still listening on the 2nd overall pick, taking calls on the 9th overall. Some people are wondering what they're doing with those picks. Again, Mike Grier talked about with San Jose, he's not going to move the 2nd overall pick unless it's for a player that can help them long term. The deal has to make sense. So the player has to have term on the deal, fits in within their age range, and everything like that. I do believe that pick is in play. Chicago's pick was in play. We saw 2 top 10 picks get traded. Could they get traded again? But the San Jose Sharks are in the driver's seat when it comes to the top 10 picks that they have. And could a team move up and try to get the 2nd overall pick? Right? Again, St. Louis has got the ammunition to move up. Does San Jose want to move down? Does San Jose want to acquire a player? San Jose is looking to add some D, right? They need some defense. We said Mario Ferraro's leaving, right? So, and they got Kesselring, but they got to sign him. Do they try to get, again, Morgan Riley's name? And that was the big thing now coming out of Toronto with the D market. Morgan Riley's name is out there. Submitted a 4-team list to his agent, JP Barry, and looks like it's Western teams. He's been linked to the San Jose Sharks before. It's been reported around the trade deadline that they were trying to move him, potentially the Edmonton Oilers for Darnell Nurse. Nurse is looking for a change of scenery as well. He requested a trade. Morgan Riley hasn't requested a trade, but he has submitted his list to the team because they're asking him to waive his no-trade clause. He thinks it was time. At the end of the year, you go back and read some of his comments. He believes it may be time for a change of scenery. As much as he didn't want to leave, as much as he was holding to his no-movement clause, it looks like he's going to be on the move. Where it is, could be out west somewhere. Could it be LA? Could it be Anaheim? Could it be San Jose? Could it be another team that's involved that's on his list? Teams have been linked to him for a while. But going back to Washington, they add a Jordan Kyrou player, top 6 forward. Now, they moved out John Carlson. They moved out Nick Dowd. Alex Ovechkin's kind of wavering on where he wants to be. And the reports had always been he's waiting for what the Washington Capitals are going to do in July. Well, now they've got a top 6 forward signed long-term with contract, with term on there. And he waived to go to Washington. And does this help Alex Ovechkin decide on whether or not he comes back? He was waiting to see if they could get a top 6 forward. You got to imagine he's going to want to come back and play with Kyrou at least a couple more seasons. And this is why, Ovi didn't sign yet. If Carlson didn't get traded and he was extended and maybe Nick Dowd, if Nick Dowd was the only trade, probably Ovechkin, it's Ovechkin's already signed. But, he wanted to wait it out, see what the Caps were going to do. And you don't blame him because they're a young team. Now, where does Chicago fit in all this, right? They get the defenseman, they get Greenway. They're probably not done. They got to sign Bedard. We know Fantilli, Bedard, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Fantilli are all connected. We know Celebrini's connected to that group. Who's the first one of that RFA class? Couple guys are eligible for extensions. Most need extensions. Who's going to be the first guy to cave and get the big money deal to set the market for the rest of those guys? But the trade season is here. And look, like we said, we mentioned New Jersey before. We said, who else could they go after? Hollabuck. They need a goaltender. They need some defense. They need some help. They need help up front. Could they be in the Dylan Larkin sweepstakes? Could they get the center that they need to get Larkin to New Jersey, put Jack Hughes on the wing? It's an option. Is it potential a 3-team deal? All of a sudden, the news coming out of Minnesota is Detroit may need a third team. Reported back in June when the Dylan Larkin trade request from Detroit came in that a potential for Steve Yzerman to pull the Matt Duchene with Joe Sakic and say, hey, I need a third team here. I still need prospects and picks. I need roster players that can help me now turn my roster around. Because, look, there's a ripple effect. If Larkin goes, then DeBrincat goes, and Kane doesn't stay, and now we're in a rebuild, and that rebuild continues because Detroit's never really gotten out of it. They haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. Larkin is upset. Larkin and Hellebuck were most vocal of the U.S. group for that won the gold medal the last couple of years. Hellebuck this year, that status quo has to change, can't be complacent. Larkin and Yzerman have butted heads for a while now. He was not happy with the direction of the team, the moves that they made. They get a full year of Justin Falk now. So let's see what that changes for Detroit on the back end. But Steve Yzerman did not let the young players grow, did not let the young players take the next step, and they should have. He really, really should have. And now Detroit's in a pickle. Got to move Larkin. Got to get assets in return. What does that look like? Again, a lot of moving parts. And again, we mentioned the goalie market. Hellebuck, Carolina, now they're interested in moving Nikishin. Nikishin had a history coming over. The contract was signed. He wasn't in the lineup right away. They didn't fully announce it. His deployment, how he's been used. Again, Connor Hellebuck's been linked to Carolina. They would probably need Nikishin and some other stuff to go back the other way if they can get him. Sergei Bobrovsky been linked to Carolina. Now he's being linked to LA, and LA makes sense if you think about it. Trocheck's there. Panarin and Bobrovsky tried to go sign together, same place in Florida 7 years ago now, and it just didn't work out. Could they be reunited in LA? Does LA move off of Kemper? We know Laviolette's there. Trocheck's there. It makes sense. Well, Trocheck's not there yet, but if Trocheck went there, that makes sense too. Vinny Trocheck on the center market, he's available. Mason McTavish is available on the center market. Dylan Larkin, we said. But again, Bob's out there. Where does Stuart Skinner go? Does Jordan Binnington get moved from St. Louis now? The Panthers still haven't closed the door on Sergei Bobrovsky. You listen to Bill Zito. The door's never closed until it's closed. They've budged on their term. The AAV's got to come down. It's always been they wanted a 2-3 year deal, maybe a 4-year deal at most, but they don't want to go past 7. They don't want to go into the 8s, 9s, 10s. They want 5, at most 5. 6 if they can get it done. But again, that door hasn't been closed yet. Could he go to Toronto? There are a lot of places that need goaltenders. But if the Panthers are all in to win, and the way their system is utilized, the way they have, it doesn't matter who they play goal, because the puck will be in the offensive zone, they'll protect their goalie, and they're going to win games, but they need somebody to stop the puck. What happens out in Anaheim? Again, we said they need D because John Carlson's going to free agency, Radko Gudas going to free agency, Jacob Trouba's going to free agency. Now is that the future for Owen Zellweger and Pavel Mityukov? They want to take some next steps. Do they add a veteran defenseman for Joel Quenneville? Because they get to the second round of the playoffs. Can't miss the playoffs this year, right? Got to get back there. Probably need a veteran presence back there. But Mityukov and Zellweger need to take the next steps. Feels like John Carlson's going to Tampa Bay. But again, is he really going to get 8, 9, 10 million? Probably. They didn't want to go past 6 for Darren Radish. Do they really want to go past 8 for a guy like John Carlson? Could take less money to go to Tampa, to go to a winner, but Philly's interested, Boston's interested. You wonder if Ottawa takes a shot at him. You wonder if Montreal takes a shot at him. A lot of teams in the Eastern Conference will want to take a shot at John Carlson. More up on NHLRumors.com. Radko Gudas been linked to Florida and Toronto. You got to wonder where Jacob Trouba ends up. Again, we've seen it before. These guys going to go to market, but sometimes you stay with your own team. Maybe not the case this time. And again, we're hearing names like Mario Ferraro out there. Rasmus Ristolainen is still available. Teams are looking to add defensemen. What's interesting is Vegas has a handshake deal with Rasmus Andersson at $8.5 million AAV. You have to wonder if there was some tampering. You have to wonder, going back to last year, kind of was known that Andersson want to go to Vegas, but he denied it publicly. And now you're seeing they're just waiting. Vegas has to clear some cap space. Vegas also, again, if they sign him, who else are they going to do? They still got to sign Dorofeyev to a deal. Does Hurdle move out? Does Hill move out? What other moves are they going to make in Vegas to get these guys to come in? Again, Andersson, if he doesn't sign by July 1st, I mean, he could sign in Vegas on July 1st, but what if a team offers him another deal? What if Boston goes after him? They were in on the Andersson sweepstakes before he was traded to Vegas, but it sounded like from the GM and the player that he's going to be back. So that's one to watch out there in Vegas. Again, Jason Robertson, they're far apart on a deal. They're trying to get it done. Jim Nill wants to get it done. He talked about it on Saturday. He wants to get it done. It's a priority, but he could be offer sheeted. Team could trade for him. Looking for over $12 million. He wants more than Rantanen. He almost feels like back in the day when New Jersey traded for Ilya Kovalchuk, the owner prioritized Kovalchuk over Parise. Parise then ends up going to Minnesota. The idea was to sell the team with two big prominent stars. Well, you bring in Rantanen, that means Robertson's got to go a 45-goal scorer you can't replace on an older team that needs legs. You know, Sagan's older. Is he going to play the season out? Is Jamie Benn going to come back? Did they move Ilya Lyubushkin? He's another name that's out there. But teams like New Jersey, Columbus, Carolina, Montreal, a lot of teams have been linked to Jason Robertson. And he could add a 45-goal scorer to a team, especially like New Jersey needs a goal scorer up there. That would be huge. Now, again, he's thrived in Dallas' system. What will happen when he leaves that system? But, you know, you wonder if a division rival like Nashville tries to get him. That would be a great ad for them. Again, a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, so many little details, rumors out there. Pittsburgh trying to get a defenseman. But Columbus, again, maybe moves Merzlikins. They really don't want to move Kent Johnson. Marchenko's another guy they don't want to move because of potential. Again, you see it with Nemec. Those guys just don't grow on trees, and you know what the player can be. But Marchment, it seems like Branson, Boone Jenner, all going to market, probably not going to come back. And what about Zach Werenski? His future will be decided after the draft. Has he decided that it's time for a change of scenery and a trade is necessary? Sounds potentially like it is, but again, he hasn't officially said it to the team that things are trying to be kept quiet, and that's what happened after the Dylan Larkin and Darnell Nurse trade requests. So let's see what happens moving forward, but there's a lot of things to catch up on. NHLRumors.com's got everything for you. A lot of massive trades in the National Hockey League. We're just getting started. Big names on the move. NHL Draft on Friday. A lot of moving things. Try to get another video up for you. Stay tuned. Get your ear to the ground. I'm Jim Biringer. Please follow, like, subscribe to the channel. Comment below. Guys, take care and enjoy.